Hey, this is Scott Pace with Kisatchie Forest Bigfoot with David Hollis and myself, and this weekend we're up in Nebraska in the Omaha Nation, and we're right next to the Missouri River right now, and we're gonna do some squatching this weekend, so y'all stay in touch and stay tuned. Show you how beautiful this place is. Hey guys, this is Scott Pace with Kisatchie Forest Bigfoot and Mr. Barry Webster with Squatching. We're here in Macy, Nebraska, and been doing some squatching, and it's had some really good results last night. Went out and actually got some eye shine and able to do a little communication with them and everything, so it's been great. But we're here at the lookout point, and I'll let Barry talk about a little bit what happened last night with our experience.
Well, it was to say the least, it was just another amazing experience. I went out about 1 o'clock, and to the south of us, this eye shine appeared, and I knew what it was right away. I called Scott. Scott sang a gospel song to them, which I thought was really beautiful, and then you started to see like the shimmer, the LED light show. It was just incredible. I haven't seen that in a while, so that was pretty awesome. So just trying to have a great time, guys.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. A great time, guys. It's awesome having it. So we're gonna do some more scouting right now. We've seen a bunch of tree breaks and bows, and really good time out here, guys. All right, take care. Bye bye.
Hey y'all, I'm sitting here with Scott Pace, and he's going to tell us about his encounters up in Nebraska with the Omaha Indian Nation and Barry with Squatching. So tell us about that, Scott.
Man, I had a great experience. So in the first part of October, took off and went to Macy, Nebraska, and it was really an awesome time. Got up there in the first night, we went and rode around first, and he He gave me a tour of the res. It was really nice. Enjoyed my time with Barry immensely. It was really, really good. The first night we were there, it was really cold. Got down into the 30s, and for us Louisiana people, that's pretty cold, you know. And as soon as when we got there, it got dark and everything, and then we stayed in a little camper that night. He stepped out for a second. When he stepped out, he said, "Scotty, come out here, I'm gonna show you something." So I stepped out, and when I did, he said, "Look over there in the tree line." So about 100 yards away, I looked up there, and I could see two bright eyes sitting there, and they were way up. And I looked at it, and he said, "Start talking to us." So I started talking to him. Said, "Hey, my name is Scott Pace. I came from Louisiana. Came to see y'all." And the big eyes started sparkling. Both of them started sparkling. I thought that was incredible. And then something just touched me inside and said, "Sing to him." So I began to sing a hymn to him. And when I sang,
got a train coming.
yeah. So whenever I began to sing to him, the eyes began to sparkle, and so they changed different. Like it was round, but it no halo around it. It looked just like an LED light. And then all of a sudden, it's like two more little figures rose up next to it. So we sat there, and it was really cold, and the wind was blowing hard and everything. So I just said goodbye to them and told them thank you for showing themselves to me, and we went back in. So the next night we went to a place.
Let's take a break.
So the next night.
Wait. I gotta get back to the video.
That's okay. So the next night we go to this one place, and it's a what they call bluffs over there, and it's a hill that goes up. And we were going down the road real slow, and they said, let's look over there and see if they're even here tonight. So all of a sudden we look and we see eye shine. So when we look over and we see eye shine, that's for me, that's the first time I've ever seen eye shine. I've never seen eye shine before, and I thought that was incredible. So we parked right there on a logging trail that was there, and we all got out. And so when we all got out, it's probably 8 of us there, I'm thinking. And so some people stayed behind on the truck, and then the rest of us walked over to the edge of the road, and Barry and his brother Derek began to talk to him. He said, "Aho, sitanga." And he started talking in their native language to him. That's what I remember. So he began to talk to him, and when he did, the light, I say the lights, the eyes began to shine all over. We seen white eyes, we seen blue eyes, we seen red eyes, we seen orange eyes.
Wow.
For this spot right here was really, really incredible. And there was one he calls Stevie Wonder there. That's where Stevie Wonder is. And so they were all over the place, and when he began to talk to him, he said, "Scotty, y'all come forward." So I walked forward and got to the edge of the road right there, and he said, "Just introduce yourself to him." So I began to introduce myself to him. I said, "I'm Scott Pace. I'm from Louisiana. I came a long ways to see you." And I said, "Look, I just want to talk to you." And I said, "If you want to talk to me, that would be awesome." I said, "If not, just mind speak to me, telepathy, say if you want to converse with me, I'm here." And so I just sat there and I stayed open-minded, I stayed open-hearted, and I just opened up my hands like this. They began to come down, and when they come down, the eyes floated. They didn't walk like this. They floated. They floated down.
Wow.
For me, that was incredible. I've never seen anything like that. You ready?
All right. My phone dropped just now, and Scott said they're here.
They're here. So anyways, a lot of times people pay money to go on vacation, go do things and all that. They might go to New York City, or might go to Disneyland or something like that. But for me, this was the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And that was to see these eyes come down and to be this close to them. Now, they were right across the road. When I say right across the road, they'd be right behind us right here, where that tree line is right there. And that's how close they were to us.
Wow.
And what was incredible is they came all the way down, and they stood there. There was a few of them that was in a row, and they just sat there, and to describe the eyes, it looks almost like an LED light, but no halo. But then they move, they sparkle, and it was like they just kind of do like this, And then we stayed there for a little while, and we conversed with them, and eventually all the eyes turned white. There was no blue eyes, there were no red eyes, there were no orange eyes. All of them turned white. And then one of them I locked eyes with. I looked up at it. It was kind of like on a hill a little bit, and I could see it was kind of looking at me, and I was looking at it. So I just said, "Look, I'm gonna try to mind speak, talk to you, and have telepathy." So I started looking up the hill at it, and when I did, its eyes locked into my eyes. Now, the only way I can explain the next thing that happened was if you watch the movie Thor, they had a bridge that went out across that, and it was like a rainbow color, went back and forth. This was all white. A light came out of its eyes, came into my eyes, and there was like a clear rainbow thing that went back and forth and went back and forth and went back and forth into my eyes, and I sat there and watched it. And then I noticed one of them to the side turned, and when it turned, it was like a high beam light shining out of its eyes, and I actually seen the light coming out of its eyes. But for me, I've never seen anything like that whatsoever. It was an incredible time to see that. So then we left that spot, and then we went to another spot, and they called it Hard Knocks. And so they had a truck that was a 4-door, and we was riding in a Jeep. So myself, it was me, and it was Derek Webster, and there was Richard and Peter in the front seat of the Jeep. And so we all went down there, and we turned around and had the vehicles headed back up this hill, and we had to go around all the way down this bottom. So we got out and we started listening to them. We started talking to them, everything. And you could see some eyes come around, and they were getting kind of close and everything. So I began to ask Derek questions. I said, Derek, what do the knocks mean? And so he said, you'll see in a minute. He said, come here, I'm going to show y'all some pictures. So we was sitting there kind of gathered around. It was kind of cold in that bottom. So we had our jackets on and everything, and I was kind of next to the Jeep, and I was trying to get close to the radiator to warm up because I was cold. And all of a sudden we heard this whoosh, like a tree limb fell, and then we heard like a big thud, and all of a sudden we heard the leaves take off like that. And I said, man, it sounded like somebody just threw a limb. And Derek looked at me, started busting out laughing. He said, no, they had one in a tree right behind you just dropped down and ran in between y'all. Now let me tell y'all something. I heard the noise and turned around, and this is how fast they are.
Yeah.
They are so incredibly fast that took milliseconds, not seconds, milliseconds. And this thing dropped out of a tree, came down, hit the ground, and ran down the hill. And it brushed against Richard. And anyways, the other people in the truck were kind of shaken up. I thought it was hilarious myself. I thought it was funny. So they took off in the truck, and they said, we're going to leave. So they took off, and they started leaving. And we were all laughing. We thought it was funny, you know. I think Richard and Peter thought it was amazing what they seen. But anyways, I was just like, wow, that's you can't get no closer than that. I mean, it was right there. It actually rubbed up against Richard when it jumped out of the tree, and I was kind of leaning over the hood warming up, but it went right behind us and came through there.
Man, yeah, they are incredibly fast.
When I say fast, I mean, my God, I don't know of any sprinters that run that fast.
Exactly.
So I mean, it was an incredible time for me. I thought that was awesome. And so we left from there, and that ended that night. And so we went back in. The next night, we took off and we went to the one hill that was there. And this is a kicker right here. We got back to where Stevie Wonder was, and we got out, and we started talking to him a little bit again. Now this is something. They started mind speaking to me. And one of them said, look down, and there was a ravine that went down up this hill like that. And I looked down, and guess what I saw? I saw one crouched down like a spider down there. And it mind spoke to me and said, don't say anything. Now, I done committed. I got out of the truck, and I walked across the road, so it's laying there. If it wanted to get me, it would have come and got me. But I did what it said, and I respected it, and I didn't say anything. So Deej was there, and I was there. That Deej is Derek's sister. And so me and Derek walk up to the edge of the road, and we start, he starts talking to him again. And I don't remember a whole lot of eye shine, but that one was sitting down there at the bottom, and I just kept my mouth shut, so I ain't say nothing. So part of all this is having respect. If they tell you something, you're in their area, respect them. Just, do what they say to do. And so I had a close encounter, really close encounter one.
And Mark Abel's been posting these piles of dirt. He's walking around in the woods. There's nothing anywhere. No sign of human activity, but yet there's a pile of dirt.
This is wild.
So I wonder if that's what this is, where they're coming up out of the ground.
Before I left, we stayed in the campground that was there and everything, and I kept noticing all these holes in the ground. So I kept wondering about that. So I began trying to mind speak to them. Now, so right before I left, they mind spoke to me, and they said, that's what that hole is right there. And actually I have a picture of the hole. And it's a pretty good sized hole in the ground. Looks like a pothole to me. You can see in
in a road or something, but it's just like a divot in the ground, but there's a footprint next to it.
Wow.
And so that backed up that story.
Yeah.
That's there. Now, a lot of things just dealing with forest people, Sasquatch, Bigfoot is enough by itself. To hear all these other occurrences, you know,
That's a land yap.
it's a lot extra. It really
Yeah.
is. It's a little something extra. And I tell you what, man, it really, really, I had to think about this when I got home. And I called David and I told him, I said, man, let me tell you something. I got to think about all this. I have to consume and absorb all this, because it was so much for me to handle and so much for me to digest. It really was. But there again, it's not what we believe,
No,
it's what we're willing to accept.
that's all right.
So if you can accept these things, you don't have to believe it, just accept it. You'll get a lot further and you'll get a lot more response for things. So I'm trying to remember. Oh, so then the last night we were there, the last day we were there, Saturday, me and Peter took a ride with his brother Derek. And Derek said, come on, let's go take a ride. We go around by the buffalo pen over here. They had a big old huge pasture that had bison in it. So we went over there and we went around, and we got out of the truck and we're sitting there, and these fence posts are, I'm 5'6", so this thing's as tall as I am. And all of a sudden he gets out, starts talking to him. Hey, Situnga, aho, come here. He starts talking to him, and I'm like, and all of a sudden we look out there, and here comes one running out of the tree line, and it goes next to the fence post that's there, and this buffalo pen starts going back and forth like this, and it's holding on, and it goes back and forth, and it goes back and forth, and it goes back and forth, and it's just doing like that. And then all of a sudden I look up in the trees, and there's like 3 or 4 more in the trees. And so, you know, I'm trying to think about it. This is daytime. This is in broad daylight. So I asked him, I said, how in the world do you get this to happen? He said, you have to understand that we've been here for thousands of years. Our people have been here for thousands of years. This is as common to us as like a cow or a horse to you, or a cat or a dog. There again, something to digest and something to consume. So
Right.
I was like, my God, man, this is hard for me to understand. You know, it really is. But, you know, he just started talking to them. They came right out. And so there's one there. If that thing was approximately 6 foot, this other thing had to be, it was like twice the size of it. And it was huge. It was massive. It was like looking at a 1-ton truck uprighted like this and walking. That's
Wow.
how big it was. I mean, it was huge. Huge. And so anyways, I've got pictures of that, and we'll try to get all this worked in to where we show the pictures. But other than that, I got some faces and stuff that the whole time we were there, they were right behind the cabins. They showed up. Nobody came and beat on the cabin or anything like that. Oh, one key thing I want to tell y'all when we first got there, they must have really liked it, because they came up to the camper, and at night they would rock it. They didn't beat on it, they didn't slap it, they didn't try to hurt us, but they would just rock it gently, almost like you rock a baby in a cradle. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was, to me, it was like a loving touch, and it was thoughtful to come and do that, and it was really incredible. So that's pretty much it. You know, I did a little interview for Barry and his group, Res Squatching, and you know, we also have a site that's on YouTube. You got your site there,
Kisatchie Forest Bigfoot.
on YouTube, and they may have one. It's called Nox Nox Gigas, and that's also Richard's site that's on YouTube also, so you can see all. And so that's pretty much my trip. You know, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. We've seen a lot of broken trees there, a lot of tree snaps. We actually seen a cougar that ran out in front of us one day, just riding in the middle of the woods up there. It was on a bluff and all. And so there's a lot of stories, a lot of history there. One of the stories that Derek told us, and I thought was really interesting, was that right after the war, World War II, there were some men that left, and they went off to war, and they had actually died in battle. So the ladies were left there to defend for themselves, and these are American Indian people, the ladies that were there. And this one really touched my heart. He said that the forest people, the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, actually went and broke up wood for them.
Wow.
And brought back over there and actually placed on the ground for them so they wouldn't be cold during the wintertime.
Oh man, that was nice.
Now, to me, that goes to prove to you that they have had a relationship with the American Indians for a long time, and that shows you the contact that they have with them. And this is just barely, just little bits of nuggets that we get. I'm sure that they've got a lot more stories, but I enjoyed listening to them. I enjoyed listening to their encounters and stuff like that they had. And my time over there was time well spent. And I encourage anybody to get in touch with Barry Webster, go over there. Incredible time, So thank you, I appreciate it.